connecting your brain and body with interactive games and tests. Why is there no physical activity in today's health physical? Trazer is an holistic technology used to rehabilitate, prevent falls, and improve sport performance. Trazer reports provide you, your clinician, your physical therapist, or athletic trainer objective data to make decisions on your health and performance over time. Measure what matters to change your game. Take the Trazer Challenge. Confidence, growth, connected by Trazer.
Ball gets out pretty well, so does Rogers come next to it. Ward once again to the sideline.
At Fusion Sport, we're all about driving human performance. We develop and support a range of technologies all designed to assist people to be their best. Smartabase is used by hundreds of elite sporting organisations across the globe, and more recently has been used by the military and performing arts as well.
Our Smartabase technology has at the heart of it an integrated and connected philosophy. What's different about Smartabase is that it's truly flexible and self-engineerable. That really puts the power into our customers' hands, and it allows them to use it in unique ways that perhaps we haven't even thought of.
We don't tell them the rest of the field, but here comes Jimmy Stone.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Sports Arena. I'm your man, Eric Wilson, alongside the entire crew. Moment, and thank everybody for chiming and tuning in. Really appreciate all the feedback that we've been getting on, how to improve, how to make our show better. We got a lot to get to. Let me go ahead and get the entire crew in here so we're not wasting any time tonight. First and foremost, we always do ladies first here on the Sports Arena. Our girl, the Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price, is in the building. Megan, what's going on? How are you? Oops, my bad. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Let me go ahead and get Fox Sports 1340 AM. Cardiac Kane, Mr. John Shears in here. What's up, John?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Lot to talk about, man. I can't believe 48 hours. We have so much to dive into here tonight. And always, my brother, Florida Sun, NSPN, Mr. Alex Fleming's in the house. Alex, good evening, sir.
How you doing? Just wrote a brand new piece. Probably won't be out till next week. But, yeah, I think we need to look at the NFC East a little bit differently. I don't want to start no fight stuff.
Fair enough. I'm sure Mike will be joining us here. Ty is actually he's got a lot going on between, coaching, being a father, and so much would say it again. We're going to see Ty in about a week or so, but he wanted me to wish everybody well and let everybody know he's going to be back, and he's going to be in rare form when he gets back. So I expect to see a lot with that. But I want to start the conversation tonight, and I kind of did something that I normally don't do. I kind of stepped out my comfort zone a little bit. And first, I got to say thank you to Megan because of this, because she is the one who brought this to our attention. But from NBA Central, they posted on Twitter earlier today that Rachel Nichols will be off all of NBA programming, and they are canceling her weekday afternoon show, The Jump. Now, again, this is off of Twitter from @the NBA Central. Want to make sure we give credibility to where it is due. But Megan, I mean, this is something that you've talked about on the show here, and we have discussed, especially with the finals going on. But talk to me about this and just kind of educate not only the three of us, but also our viewers, and more importantly, as a woman in the sports media world, just talk to me about your overall thoughts and analysis perspective on the whole situation.
So for everybody that doesn't know, during the NBA playoffs this past June, the whole sports news world was buzzing about this drama that was unfolding between two of ESPN's female reporters, Maria Taylor and Rachel Nichols. Maria Taylor had been in contract negotiations since before the pandemic and was given the sideline reporting duties of the 2020 NBA Finals. And this happened during the pandemic, as we know, a complete time of unrest in America. And so social justice protests were happening throughout the country and also internationally. So unknown to Nichols, a private conversation that she had was uploaded to the ESPN server. And she was basically talking about how she was unhappy that Maria Taylor was given this job. So this was actually a job that was part of Rachel Nichols' contract. So she had valid claim to being upset about this. But unfortunately, she went on to talk about Maria only got this job because ESPN was trying to diversify their lineup because of what was happening in America. Maybe if she would have just complained about the contract negotiations, it would have been a valid claim. But unfortunately, she kept on talking. Maria Taylor left the network, and she's now with NBC News. And as we saw today, Rachel got canceled.
Yeah. And I think that really is an eye-opening lesson to be careful what you say, who you say, and who you say it around.
Right.
So, gentlemen, let me definitely get your thoughts on this as well, because Alex, I know you're going to I understand your approach, because before when we talked about this, you were like, listen, Rachel Nichols is going to do Rachel Nichols. We need to celebrate the accomplishments of Maria Taylor. John Shear was very much on the agreement of, you know what, you need to be mindful of your surroundings, number one. And number two, let's not go after someone else and feel like they are just stealing what you feel is yours, contract-wise or otherwise. So I definitely want to hear from the two of you gentlemen about the situation and where you stand now.
All right, I guess I'll start. I'll
Okay.
unmute myself. I'll start. I guess I'm curious why they canceled The Jump. I mean, I understand maybe taking her off, but I felt like The Jump was a show that really did well for ESPN. And they don't have a whole lot of programs dedicated to the NBA like that. Like they have the NFL Live. So I feel like The Jump was the NBA's version of NFL Live. And I felt like it was a really good show for the basketball fan, the NBA fan. I thought maybe you could keep The Jump, get rid of Rachel Nichols, and just replace her as the host and put somebody else on there. It was a really good show. So I don't understand why you cancel that. Maybe bring another one, another NBA show, but that was a really good show. I don't understand that move, but I understand them taking her off. I just don't understand why they waited 2 months to do it. Not quite sure about that, but I completely understand there has to be ramifications for what happened. So I'm not opposed to the move. I just don't understand why you don't keep The Jump, which seems to be a popular show.
Understandable. And let me go ahead and welcome in Believe in the Pac-12, Mike Carrottenuto. Mike, good evening, sir. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Sorry, it's one of you guys poisoned my internet because it just kept freezing on the opening page. I don't know what Voodoo Megan and John and Alex are into. I won't blame you, Eric, but I think it's one of those three that froze my internet. I've been staring at the same screen for like 5 minutes trying to refresh shit and everything.
He said trying to get tickets to Comic-Con. But Alex, go ahead, talk to me about this whole Rachel Nichols situation, and then Mike will definitely hear from you on this.
Oh, no.
Did we lose him?
All right. First and foremost,
there
I
he
just
is.
want to say Rachel Nichols is one of the very few ladies that actually. I'm right here. Okay. I just want to say that Rachel Nichols is one of the very few ladies that actually looks better without makeup. I don't think that means anything right now. I'm just trying to let you know. I didn't have a problem with what she said. The timing of what she said was horrible. I think that was the key factor. Over, I do not know. And I actually like Malika on the jump. I would watch a jump with Hega. She's a nice, bright, upcoming star, and she's easy on the eyes. But I think for some odd reason, the jump was Rachel's property, so they figured we might as well get rid of the Charlie. And I'm sick and tired of seeing Kendrick Perkins. There's nothing to the table. I feel bad for Richard Jefferson, but I still miss it when they had Scottie Pippen and Tracy McGrady. So I'm not going to miss the jump. I'm slightly going to miss Rachel, but that's for guilty pleasure reasons. And I guess in our...
All right. So, Mike, we were discussing Rachel Nichols and her no longer being a part of the jump. They got rid of the jump altogether. And she has been removed from, based on what we got from the NBA Central on Twitter. Just give me your thoughts on that really quick.
Yeah, I mean, when we touched on it, again, the stuff that she was on the phone talking to the agent about, like, he kind of made the comment and she laughed with it, as we know. But, like, the whole thing, with Maria Taylor, and like I said, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Rachel Nichols' style, but I don't take anything away from her talent and accomplishments, what she's done. Obviously, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, she has no right being there. But the thing that it kind of made me laugh, Eric, not at her, because, again, it sucks, but the whole battle with Maria Taylor. So ESPN didn't want to re-up with Maria Taylor, but now they let go of Rachel Nichols, take her off the jump, and all. That's.
I think it was.
Me,
I mean, there had.
I see what
I think it was they had to be
saying about Malika Andrews, but right. But I'm saying they need to bring Sage Steele back anyway. She's the basketball girl. A, B, like, it just. But I can't. It makes no sense to me. Why not give Maria Taylor the extension? Keep Maria Taylor there because, again, she was good, but it makes really odd sense to do it right now. So the one thing I thought of is that she wants out in a way and she wants to go somewhere else. I mean, Maria Taylor did cover the Olympics like that for NBC because obviously they didn't renew her contract, so she could go wherever she wanted. But yeah, I mean, I say bring Sage Steele back. I mean, Rachel Nichols will land somewhere. Talent-wise, obviously, I mean, she can do it. Like I said, I just wasn't a big fan of her style. She might not be a big fan of my style, too. Great. I'm all for it. But I'm kind of with Alex. I do like Kendrick Perkins. I can't stand Richard Jefferson. But same thing, Alex, that's kind of a guilty thing because he's a U of A guy, and anytime any ASU guys does something in the league, the only person he can't rip on is James Harden because he knows James Harden would have wiped him all over the court. So that's all I got to say about Richard Jefferson. But that being said, no, I do like Jefferson's style. But for Rachel Nichols, I think she worked well with him. But like I said, it just surprised me they didn't re-sign Maria Taylor. That makes this all makes no sense now.
Well, okay, so before the pandemic, like, she was in contract negotiations, right? And they shot a number at her, and she told them, I guess there was a quote that came out that she said, think more Stephen A numbers.
Maria Taylor said that?
Yeah. And so that's what she said, think Stephen A numbers, right? And she rejected their offer. Then the pandemic happened and they gave her another offer, which was obviously less because the entire world took a massive hit, right? So I want to say it was probably about half of what the original offer was. And obviously she turned it down. She had been unhappy. This original incident happened a year ago. So she had been unhappy for a while. People at ESPN had chosen sides, like the NBA Countdown show. Some of them were refusing to appear with Rachel Nichols.
Right, but you're saying Rachel Nichols asked for Stephen A. numbers, or Maria
No,
Taylor?
Maria Taylor.
Okay, first of all, it has nothing to do with her being a woman. Like, Stephen A. might drive people crazy, but that man, like, literally, even before, he's been doing First Take for years now, but even covering the NBA, like, during the NBA season, is like there at 6 o'clock and leaving at like midnight.
Mhm.
Like, Maria Taylor is not doing that. So the fact she said that, if I'm in management, I'm laughing too. Like, that's not going to happen. I mean, Stephen
I guess
A. money.
my only question about that is another woman given the same opportunities as Stephen A. That's my only question.
Okay, I understand that, Megan. You bring up a great point. Sorry, she brings up a great point. But that being said, like, what has she done to deserve Stephen A. numbers?
No,
Like, even if
right.
you don't like Stephen A., like, I respect her as a journalist and as a sports anchor. But are you kidding me? You're going to ask for that's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to keep going.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Let me real quick, Alex, and then I do want to get you on this. Megan, here is my question or my rebuttal to what you asked. Is a woman getting Stephen A. money? I don't know if there is a woman out there, and I know we mentioned this before. We talked about maybe Erin Andrews might be one of those women who is getting Stephen A. money. We don't know. Right. But at the same time, I will simply ask, I have to see what you've done to get that. And that's just who I am. You know what I'm saying? I agree there should be equal pay across the board. It doesn't matter race, sex, gender. It doesn't matter. However, if I'm putting in a 16-hour day and someone else is putting in a 12-hour day, well, then, yeah, I should get them 4 extra hours.
My question is, are any women given the opportunity to have a 16-hour day?
By the way, I wouldn't give. I don't know any man that I would give Stephen A. money. Just saying.
You're right.
I mean, look, you could go through a generation, and Megan, you bring up a great point. Like, are there women? I don't know, but if you are talented enough and are good enough, and you are covering it, like, I'm with Eric. It's to the point where if you're working those hours in that day and you have the sources and everything, that's one thing. But I mean, look, that's like me getting going. And you guys know I call games, but quick little comparison. That's like me getting hired at CBS and saying, "Oh, you're going to pay me $17 million like Jim Nantz." Do I think I do a good job? If I said that to them, they're going to be like, "Have a good day."
Yeah.
But I mean, Alex, I'm just saying, like, do they give them the opportunity to get those jobs to make that money?
And we don't know. And quite
I don't
frankly,
know either. I don't.
You know what? I'll be the one to throw out the line and say they probably don't. And you know what? There is a opportunity for them to correct that and say, okay, if this is what you want, then set the expectation and make it even across the board.
But we all know, we all work in media. We know that if you want an opportunity, you go out and you make it happen. If you want more work from your editor or whoever, you have to go out and make it happen. You have to go out and ask for stories. You have to go out and do those things. Stephen A. has done those things clearly. He's climbed his way to the top because he just puts in countless hours, kind of like Kobe Bryant, did on the court. Stephen A. does that in the media world where he just is working nonstop. Like, that's what you have to do to get to that point. And I'm not saying other people haven't, but if you want to get that kind of money, you got to put in that kind of work. And that's not easy to do because then you don't have a life.
You're right. With great, listen, it's like the old Spider-Man adage, with great power comes great responsibility. Alex, I want to give you the final word, and then I do want to transition off of this, please.
Oh no, I think he froze.
Awkward silence.
Let me see. Well, we're waiting for you. We're waiting for you, Mr. Fleming. I wanted to give you the final word.
Did I froze? Did I freeze? Oh, look, this is all I'm going to say. All right, this shouldn't be a gender issue, but obviously it's a gender issue. But it's female on female crime. And not one person who does Stephen A. work and deserves Stephen A. cut that out.
Okay.
right now. Do see that it's a recurring issue that females seem to be hating on females, especially in this industry.
All right. Valid point, sir. Very valid point. So let's move on because, tonight I kind of wanted to switch things up a bit, like I said. And we did 2 weeks ago a segment called What If? And we asked ourselves a couple questions and we got some very, very interesting responses. So tonight, if you will, tonight is going to be a what we want to know. All right. Let's get our girl Megan Price back in here. So my first thing, and I'm going to defer to Megan and Mike on this one. What we want to know, Harry Kane, is this in fact his swan song in Tottenham? Did I pronounce that correctly, or is it just Tottenham? Tottenham. Thank you. So Megan, Mike, I want to defer to the two of you. Tottenham. Thank you, sir. Tottenham.
None of us are British.
This is very true. But the three of you, I guess I definitely want to include Alex in this, and John, please feel free. But is this the swan song for him?
I kind of feel like it could be. There's a really great player. They have Son as well, along with Kane, who's ended up staying, who could take the club to go further. But Tottenham is not. It's the Hotspurs, and they're not exactly the biggest club. You have Chelsea, you have Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, all way bigger clubs than the Hotspurs. So I don't know if they'll be able to get the same amount of talent as those other clubs. They literally haven't had a championship in 50 years. So it could be, it may not be. If they are able to win, I think that they can stay in probably the top 5. I don't really have them probably top 3. They're number 5 right now. And one of those wins came without Harry Kane. And so I feel like they looked good. They didn't look their best, but they looked good in that game without Harry Kane. So I'm able to kind of judge that talent around him, as they have done some improving. They're not as good as Chelsea. They're not as good as Liverpool. They might be better than Manchester City. They might be better. We beat them. We beat them, Mike.
It's early in the season. I respect it.
It's
Harry
early.
Kane. First of all, Harry Kane has handled this poorly, completely poorly. And it's one of those things where, like, he says he wants to be gone, and then he fires his agent. Didn't he fire his agent? Because now his brother's his agent now.
Right.
But Harry Kane still handled it bad. And can they win without? Okay, sure. I mean, look, I'm not going to say no, but what you're talking about when you're talking about Chelsea and you're talking about Man U, Man City, even Liverpool, because I think Liverpool, the way they played the end of last year, well, yeah, I mean, the last stretch of the season, I mean, they were kind of up and down, but they were, I don't know, they were getting better. And if Harry Kane doesn't want to be there, like September 1st is a deadline anyway. So the fact that you say you want to be gone, this is what drives me crazy, because most guys that transfer in soccer, like we hear the news break, like from overseas, like, oh, but they're not sitting out there saying, I want to be gone. I mean, even the whole junk that happened with Messi, like they thought he was going to leave. They thought he was going to be gone. But at the same time, like, it was one of those things where his people, I mean, they handled it. Barcelona didn't handle it great. Neither one of them really handled it great in the end. But at the same time, they tried to re-sign him, knowing that they couldn't. So it's like, well, okay, we don't have the money and now this and that. But guys aren't like Ronaldo. I mean, they're saying Ronaldo might end up in Man City, but like he's not saying, oh, I want to leave Juve, I want to leave Juve. But for Harry Kane, like to your point, like if he's there, do I think they can? I mean, can they hang around the top 5? I'd say like top 7. I don't think they'd go below 10 or 12. I mean, if they went below 10, I'd kind of be surprised. I mean, I don't think they're on relegation. Even without him, I mean, they'll kind of be in the middle of the pack by the end of the season, I would think. But I mean, I like Chelsea. I'd like Chelsea to win it, but I mean, Man City, again, I'm not, especially if they land Ronaldo in the transfer window, like, forget it. Like, I mean, the way he played last year at Juve, I mean, he stepped in and it was fine. And I mean, I don't get why he wants to leave, and if the whole money thing. But for Harry Kane, like, I just don't think he played all of it right. I'm okay with him saying he wants to leave it because, John, I don't know how much you watch because I've never asked you, but soccer players, like, if they want to be gone, like, all of a sudden you hear, oh, so-and-so's going to be there. It's like when Neymar went to PSG. Like, they didn't talk about – it wasn't a contract talk like it is. I mean, maybe in Europe a little bit, but all of a sudden season's over, Barcelona's out, and he signs with PSG. Like, that's one of the – and Megan knows it too. So, like, I mean, some guys might say they want to be gone, but they just handle it so much better. And that's what annoys me with Harry Kane. And why are you saying anything over a week before the summer transfer window is gone?
But is it his swan song? I mean, I know Megan was talking about, can they stay in the top 5 and stuff like that? But is it his swan song? I guess is the question. Will he be gone?
Yeah, there's no way.
They kind of need him. It sounds like they kind of need him, right?
Depends on – well, they're going to get a lot of money for him. I mean, again, it's going to be at least
but that's not going to help you win unless you sign a big name.
They paid him $160 million for 6 years. He's been there for 7 years. His entire career, he's been there, and he's never touched a piece of metal. So,
right.
But to that credit, they haven't touched a piece of metal in 43 years before that as well.
Right.
So if they do get rid of him and they get money for him, who can they go out and get right now? Can they get a Messi or somebody like that? Is that possible?
Can get 3 players of not similar caliber, but good, above average caliber,
right.
And you could probably address some of the issues you already have. I just don't see another big name other than who we have, Son and Kane. I don't see another big name signing because it's not exactly a destination.
You don't see a Messi or something like that?
It's not a destination.
Well, Messi's with PSG. Messi signed with PSG. The interesting thing,
he did?
Though,
okay. All right.
PSG, Megan, I saw this report today when I was looking around. We saw allegedly Mbappe, the French forward, wants to leave.
Oh, no.
He wants to leave PSG. So, John, to your point, like, can they get somebody? Yes, but if the longer they wait, if this hits like right on September 1st, they wouldn't be able to get anybody until the winter transfer unless teams work out they can get a player on loan from somebody else, but you're not going to get like you're saying, like guys the caliber of Messi, Mbappe, like I mentioned, you're not going to get those caliber, but it would be the winter transfer window where they would pick somebody up. So if they were still hanging in it, that money would probably go towards that.
Right. And if you lose a guy like this, I mean, unless you get a guy that's equal to or better, you're not touching metal, like you guys said, with him. So you're probably not going to touch it without him, is what it sounds like.
Absolutely.
They can win the FA Cup, though. They can battle in like the FA Cup and get something. But again, without him, it just gets tougher.
Fair enough. All right. We're going to stick a pin in that and come back. I just had to ask that question. We're going to have more because I want to ask each of you a couple more questions here, and I want to thank all of you for chiming in and giving me these tonight. But our next one up when we get back from break, brought to you by Mr. Alex Fleming, so I'm definitely going to need his input on this. The impact that a running back is going to have in New England. And then following that up with Sony Michel leaving New England and going to the Rams. Are the Rams the NFC West clear division winners? More with the Sports Arena when we come back.
Generations Physical Therapy has been the Tri-State's leader in physical therapy services for over 20 years. And now we have a convenient location right in the heart of the capital city of Charleston, just off I-64. With convenient parking and flexible hours, your access to physical therapy is second to none. Plus, Snap Fitness is also inside with 2 floors of gym equipment and sports enhancement training through A-Game Sports Performance. So whether you're needing hands-on physical therapy or looking to get results in our gym, our family's ready to help yours. Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness. Multiple services, multiple locations. Experience you can count on.
Welcome back into the Sports Arena. Man, Eric Wilson alongside Megan Price from 806 on the Sip-Off, John Shear, Fox Sports 1340 AM, Alex Fleming, Florida Sun and NSPN, and Mike Caratanudo, Believe in the Pac-12. So before we went to break, questions that I just wanted to tease with everybody. But Mr. Fleming, let's talk about this young man. And as I said, what we want to know, the impact of Mr. Stevenson's in New England. Alex?
There's a gentleman that's just arrived on. Excuse me?
Go ahead.
Hi. So there's a stable of running backs in New England by the name of Damian Harris, J.J. Taylor, James White, and all that's fine and dandy. But a gentleman by the name of Ramondre Stevenson, a OU rookie running back, is going to turn heads. He's the combination of power and speed. He's about 230 pounds. He runs about a 4.4, but once he gets in the open field, good luck catching him. I think it's just a matter of time before he takes that leading starting running back position by storm. And the fact that New England traded away Sony Michel for a 5th and 6th round pick only means that A, they have enough running backs and he was expendable, considering that Sony Michel was taken in the first round of 2018. B, they just robbed the Rams because Sony Michel, he averaged 5.4 yards a carry. Yeah, but that's in limited work. He hasn't been 1,000-yard back. And 3, they believe in Stevenson. If you look at some of Stevenson's work while he was at OU, he was a monster. And I think that New England is going to be nice and quiet as kept, one of the dark horses for the NFL playoffs this year. Hence the reason why I have them going in over the Miami Dolphins.
Interesting.
Look at John's face.
John's face tells a different story.
Alex speaks the truth.
Mr. Shear, any words that you would like to add on, sir?
Well, first of all, I mean, you're relying on Damian Harris, who played 1 year, averaged 5 yards a carry, had 691 yards, a couple touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. You're relying on James White, who does not run the ball. He's just a pass-catching back. And then you're relying on Brandon Bolden, relying on Mr. Stevenson. You're putting a lot on a rookie. You're putting a lot on Damian Harris, who did have his injury problems last year. And then you're putting in a lot on Cam Newton, who had more interceptions than touchdowns, but yet you're saying they're going to be better than the Dolphins. Tell me how that makes sense. They also have receivers who can catch the ball. So tell me how that makes sense. Anyway, Stevenson could be good. I mean, you guys know more than I do about him being at Oklahoma. I didn't watch Oklahoma per se, but I mean, Bill Belichick knows what he's doing when it comes to running backs. Sony Michel, the writing was on the wall with Sony Michel. We saw that last year. Really, he wasn't a big part of the offense. It has kind of been, coming for him. So I'm happy he can go somewhere, but he wasn't that good anyway for them. He had one decent season. So Bill Belichick seems to know what he's doing with running backs. He's made other running backs look good. So I think Stevenson can look really good. I mean, it would be the only place where I would trust a rookie running back this far down the depth chart, at least to start the preseason, start training camp, to potentially come out and actually have a big role in the offense. I'm not going to say he's a starter because Damian Harris is a clear-cut starter, but Stevenson will get work. James White's going to be a pass-catching back. So fantasy-wise, if you're looking fantasy-wise, really there's not a whole lot there because they're going to rotate running backs. Rex Burkhead is gone. He's not there anymore. So they're going to rotate running backs. So if you're thinking fantasy, don't really think about it because it's what you want to avoid. But I think he really can be an asset, like I said, with the way Bill Belichick kind of rotates running backs.
I just wanted to add one more thing before anybody else chimed in. He didn't play the complete season last year. He only had 101 rushing attempts. He had 665 yards in those 101 rushing attempts. Career-wise, he's had a total of 13 touchdowns and 298 yards receiving off of 28 receptions. Do the math for me. That's 10 yards of reception. That's about 7 yards a carry. He's fresh. he doesn't have a lot of tread on those tires. He's going to be a problem.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, Alex, you took my number, the 7.2 yards a carry, because, John, like you said, if you say we know more, Lincoln Riley, he is the quarterback whisperer in college. Like, I know, Megan's a Texas fan, but all the quarterbacks out of Texas somehow end up in Oklahoma to play for Lincoln Riley. Like, the fact that and my point to that is, like Alex said, the fact that Ramondre Stevenson could average for a career 7.2 yards per carry in a passing offense. And people say, first thing they say, well, the line's not loaded. No, when he's in there, a lot of teams there's 7 guys ish around the box, and he's still averaging 6 yards a carry. Plus, he is a good pass receiver. The one thing I will give you about Belichick, and everybody here knows this, if a running back fumbles once, they sit on the bench for the rest of that game and maybe the next game. I know it happened to Sony Michel. Remember, was it 5-6 years back? Everybody was all big on that Gray kid because he had like almost a 200-yard game against the Colts, and then the next week he had about 125, but he fumbled in the third quarter. And he didn't get back in the game he didn't get back in another game for 2 weeks. So I get the running back stables. I'm not going to rip on James White because, again, he is a pass catcher, but man, you get a running back out of OU that can sit there and average 7.2 yards a carry in that offense, and you go to Belichick, and look, Cam Newton should be starting. With Cam Newton starting, yeah, there's going to be a lot of dirty eyes to Cam Newton on play action, delayed handoffs. So I look for Stevenson to have a big year. He could be – Alex, he's actually a dark horse because my cousin's a degenerate – well, I shouldn't say degenerate gambler. But he looks at crazy odds for, like, Rookie of the Year. And Ramondre Stevenson, I think, was up over, like, 5,500, plus 5,500. So I just think that this kid, if he does get the chance, and that stable of running backs, he'll perform.
Okay. So with that being said, let's move on to the next one because, like we talked about him, Sony Michel has now gone over to the Rams. The Rams lost Cam Akers. Okay. They shipped Todd Gurley to Atlanta. With Sony Michel now playing for the LA Rams, does that make them a more complete team? And that's why I'm asking, are they the Rams NFC West clear division winners? John Shear, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it makes them clear division winners because this is going to be a dogfight of a division anyway. If this was the NFC East, I would say yes because the NFC East is the NFC East, but it's the NFC West, and we know that this is going to be a dogfight whether Sony Michel is there or not. They still have Darrell Henderson. That does not change. He's still the guy at the top. He can catch the ball better than Sony Michel can. Sony Michel can't catch the ball in the backfield. So when he comes out, he's either going to pass protect or he's going to run the ball. He's not going to go out on passing downs. You know that, so you don't got to worry about that. Darrell Henderson's more of a threat in that regard. So he's it was the same problem in New England with him. Sean McVay will use him. He is good at that. He's an offensive guru, but he doesn't really bring that much because in today's NFL, you got to be able to catch the ball for the most part as a running back. You can't really survive. There's only one Derrick Henry. If you're going to bring up Derrick Henry, there's only one Derrick Henry. And Sony Michel ain't it. So I don't think it changes that much. Darrell Henderson, unless he gets injured, is still the top dog.
All right. Megan, give me your thoughts.
Well, the thing about that is Henderson Jr. is listed as questionable at the moment. So, they did need to bring in a decent backup. And I think Sony Michel is a decent backup. But New England
He's always questionable.
Right. Well, yeah. But New England definitely won this. We haven't seen a whole lot out of Sony Michel lately. And, in the NFL, it's what have you done for me lately? He hasn't done a whole lot lately. It's just been a whole bunch of average play. So, I think it's a decent idea to have a competent backup for Henderson Jr., but Sony Michel is just kind of a Band-Aid at this moment.
All right. Alex?
I wouldn't call Sony Michel a Band-Aid. I would call him a tourniquet. He's going to help fix a lot of the issues that the Rams have by losing Cam Akers. Look at what the Rams would have if Akers never goes down. Darrell Henderson, Jake Funk. I love Cenk Funk, who's going to be a fantasy sleeper because once Henderson goes down and Michelle fumbles, Funk's the guy that you're going to want. But that's neither here nor there. Time will vindicate me. The Rams from top to bottom are the only team in the NFC that can compete with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints lost too much on defense and have a quarterback that's shaky. Green Bay's defense can't stop Tampa Bay. Chicago's not ready. I'm not mentioning Detroit. Dallas's defense is Swiss cheese. Arizona's not ready for the limelight. San Francisco might make it, but they have to deal with injuries. And Seattle's defense doesn't scare you or me. Overall, in the NFC, it is the Rams, it's the Bucs. And I think they need to have a running game to have clock control, to take pressure off of Matthew Stafford in order to have a winning combination to beat the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay.
All right, Mike, what are your thoughts?
I'm not going to say, I don't think Sony Michel's just a Band-Aid. First of all, I think Sean McVay is going to line him up in the slot a lot, and he can catch the ball. At Georgia, again, I mean, he didn't come out of the backfield a ton, but he can. I think there's guys that just want to get out of New England. And running backs, I think, has always been one of those positions, just from everything about Belichick. People always talk about him cutting guys, getting rid of them a year early instead of a year late. I mean, we've heard that, for 20 years. That being said, like, the Rams are going to get somebody that, again, Sean McVay's going to fit him in. And I'm not calling him Todd Gurley. I sure as heck ain't calling him Christian McCaffrey. But he will definitely run the ball. I think he'll line up in the slot a lot because, again, speed-wise, there ain't too many linebackers that are going to cover him. So, yes, if he can prove that he can catch, absolutely. But Sean McVay will work on that. So, I'm going to say they're both equal winners because the Rams got what they needed because of the injury, like we've touched on, and the Patriots stockpile whatever and get rid of the back. I mean, I'm sure maybe the Rams asked for maybe Sean McVay and them asked for Ramondre Stevenson. We'll never know, but they weren't going to get that exactly. But I mean, I just think that Belichick, again, it's one of those guys going to turn it over. But I like Michelle with the Rams. I took them to win the West. Alex, I got to, and not just because I'm here in Phoenix, but I'm saying a teeny bit disagree with you on the Cardinals because one guy that hasn't been in all this mess with quarterbacks, and even if you go regionally, everybody talking this and that. I'll tell you what, man, AJ Green is going to have a disgustingly awesome year. I'm just going to tell you, if you want to talk about fantasy, AJ Green, I'm not saying it's going to be your first receiver pick, but I'm just telling you right now, AJ Green is going to have a very, very sick year. I'm just telling you that right now.
By the way,
he's on my fantasy squad.
By the way,
is? I didn't see that. I saw your.
By the way, doesn't matter. Sony Michel, 7 catches first year, 12 catches the second year.
Yeah,
7
that's the New England's offense. That's the New England's offense.
In 3 years. That's really good job.
That's the New England's offense. Okay. Because Sean McVay doesn't know what he's doing. It's in New England's offense. The Rams' offense is a lot different.
Okay. So I want to move to a question, what we want to know, again, brought to you by Mr. John Shear. And I think this one's going to spark a lot of conversation. So let's try and remain civil if that's possible. If not, oh, well, it's a sports arena. Let's do what we do. Trevor Lawrence is being basically thrown to the Wolves week 1. Now, granted, it is against the Houston Texans, a AFC South divisional opponent. Jacksonville does not have the best offensive line in the world. And we are asking him to week 1 be the starter, come out and do what a number 1 overall draft pick is supposed to do, lead your team. However, there has been much discussion, not only with us, but with many of the other media outlets, discussing when is the appropriate time to start Justin Fields. Now, I want to go on my little soliloquy here and give you my diatribe and monologue, and then I'm going to let the 4 of you handle your business. I happen to take a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars schedule, and I kind of want to play devil's advocate with y'all. If, in fact, Jacksonville started their season against the Buffalo Bills, who they do play, during the season, would we still be wanting to put Trevor Lawrence out there week 1? Justin Fields is playing the Chicago Bears, are playing the Rams week 1, and everybody is like, no, let's wait. Let's give him Cincinnati week 2, or let's wait until further on in the season. Let him sit and learn behind Andy Dalton. And let me be very clear, Andy Dalton is not Alex Smith. Andy Dalton is not Brett Favre. Andy Dalton is not Drew Bledsoe. Andy Dalton is not even, I will go so far as to say, Donovan McNabb. I'm just simply trying to understand. Okay, Mike, I'll even do you one better. He's no Troy Aikman, okay?
No.
Okay, but we are so quick to just say to Trevor Lawrence, week 1, guess what? You're the starter. Go handle your business. But we're going to coddle Justin Fields. And I'm not the one doing it because I'm saying put the brother out there. Show me what you got week 1. So John presented this question. I will let the 4 of you handle this one.
Y'all go ahead because I'm going to tear it apart when it's my turn.
I think you got to ask this question too, though. If we're going to say all that, if we're going to say, Andy Dalton isn't all of those quarterbacks, then compare him to Gardner Minshew, who is the backup in Jacksonville. So is Andy just as good as Gardner Minshew? Better? He's been there longer. I just adding to the question.
I'd rather have Minshew.
I mean, look,
You'd rather have Minshew?
I get Andy Dalton's no Troy Aikman or McNabb, or he's not a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying when he had a team around him, I know Cincinnati didn't win a playoff game, but in the regular season, they took care of their stuff in the division. They went to the playoffs. They lost in the first round. There were some games that they kind of bit themselves, and everybody said every year Marvin Lewis should be fired, which I thought is disgustingly wrong, but I'm happy he's here at Arizona State. Side note. But that being said, like, Andy Dalton having people around him, and we have somebody like AJ Green, yes, I get it. In a run game, like, he can get you to the playoffs. Is he going to take you far in the playoffs? No. He hasn't proved he can, even when he had those players around him. I will say this, though. Having getting to call games, working with coaches and different quarterbacks, and I have no problem giving credit because I didn't really know how to word it, but watching a lot of stuff today, Dan Orlovsky said one thing. A lot of these quarterbacks that are in the NFL now, like this class and probably last 5 years of quarterbacks, they've all been working with quarterback coaches since they were like 12. I mean, the best ones have. Their offenses have changed in the NFL. Instead of saying you can't do what you do in college, Andy Reid said, yes, you can. And we've seen with Patrick Mahomes can throw the ball. I get it. But they all started doing stuff with read options and all that good stuff, right? So Trevor Lawrence going out there as a number 1 pick, and everybody's saying, oh, that offensive line's terrible. He's going to get killed. But when Dan Orlovsky said today, and the guys that I've worked with that play quarterbacks said the same thing, like, put them out there and they're going to learn. They're going to do it. Yes, they're going to struggle. But if you try and coddle them to build up their confidence, maybe it frustrates them. Maybe it's good or bad for the team. The line was blocking. I think they're more hyped to block for Justin Fields in Chicago. I'll give that to you. Somebody said it the other day. But I just think that the plays against Buffalo, if you put them against great defenses, they're going to get crushed. So it's that battle. Like, do you want them to take that beating early to be better? Sure. Are they going to be able to handle it? I think Fields can. I think Lawrence can. But when you have a coach that's insisting that he doesn't start, that makes it worse.
Yeah. So first of all,
it's time for me to go. I gave you 2 minutes. All right.
Do your thing.
First and foremost, can you hear me? Because I want y'all to hear me. I need y'all to hear me. Can you hear me? Excellent. What you saw Monday night was a small fraction of what the Jacksonville C.J. Henderson. They didn't have Josh Allen. They didn't have Noel, and they didn't have DJ Sharp. So before you think he's going to be thrown to the wolves, stop and forget what you heard. The Jacksonville Jaguars, quiet as kept, just signed an undrafted free agent from the Chicago Bears, offensive lineman Tatua Madura from Boston. So please don't worry about. See, I almost called him Trevor the time. I have to watch myself because I actually made this joke. But don't worry about Trevor Lawrence. The last 13 starting rookie quarterbacks lost their first play game in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence will not be one of them. He's going to be the 1 in 13, the standard against the ratio against the mean, because they're going to beat up on the Houston Texans. And don't worry about Trevor Lawrence and his beautiful hair, because the wide receivers, all the juniors, Marvin Jones Jr., Laviska Shenault Jr., and DJ Shark Jr. are all on the same page. And now there's no running back controversy. Expect Jacksonville to turn a lot of heads this year. I'm sick and tired of questions like these when you only have half of the recipe. Half the offensive line didn't play. Half the defensive starters didn't play. Jacksonville's going 7-10. Stop worrying about Trevor Lawrence. And as far as Justin Fields is concerned, I wouldn't start him against the Rams either. Let's wait till week 2 when he can play the Bengals.
So please tell me that statistic again. Did you say the last 13 rookie quarterbacks start their first game?
They are 0-13 rookie quarterbacks starting their first game.
Two first games. You're wrong about that.
Tua lost his first game. Justin Herbert
in his first game, he beat the Rams.
Well, yes,
Aaron
Justin
Donald's
Fields
Rams.
is not going to start against the Rams as Andy Dalton.
No, I know, but Tua's first game was against the Rams, so that 0-13 stat is not correct. Thank you. Let me debunk everything you said. They were the worst team in the NFL last year, right? Yeah. Their line didn't get much better? No. Their defense is still trash? Yeah. Still have James Robinson, who was really good. But maybe he overachieved a little bit. Maybe we can agree on that, but I love James Robinson. Marvin Jones Jr., I've watched him in Detroit. He's inconsistent. He'll have a couple really good games, and then he'll disappear on you. Laviska Shenault, he should have a breakout year. I'm ready for that. Everybody's ready for that. DJ Chark, I need to see more. I saw one good season, and then I saw not so much last year. So I need to see more out of DJ Chark. Trevor Lawrence looked gun-shy. He's looked gun-shy this whole preseason, whether he has an offensive line or not. The number one pick should not look gun-shy. He's looked like the worst rookie quarterback out of all the rookie quarterbacks we've seen that were drafted high. He's looked the worst. He hasn't looked good at all. So just saying, you can't make excuses because that line's going to be bad whether they have the whole line there or not. That line's not going to be very good. And he's going to have to run for his life like Patrick Mahomes did in the Super Bowl. So you can have the whole offensive line there, and the weapons are good. They're not great. So I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to be great in his first year. I think the expectations are high. But back to the question, I just don't understand why he's being thrown out there. And you say, I think it was Mike said something about, well, you got to give him a chance. Look at David Carr. You gave him a chance in Houston, and look what happened to him. The guy's career was destroyed before he ever got a chance to play. So that's not necessarily true whenever it comes to rookie quarterbacks. You have to make sure you put him in the best position to succeed. And they're doing it with Justin Fields, which I love. Give him a chance to learn. Give him a chance to sit. You're not going anywhere this year. Make sure the line is shored up. You saw what happened in the last preseason game. He darn near lost his head. I mean, we saw that. That shouldn't have happened. They're excited to block for him, but they have no idea how to block.
Hey,
John.
That's a blown assignment on the tight end and the tight.
That can't happen with your rookie quarterback.
That was an illegal hit.
No.
He went head him. Okay?
That was not an illegal hit. That was a bad, poor
Not
job
a
on the
rule.
offense.
He got a flag. It was a 15-yard.
No. Yes, Alex, you're right. It
There's
was a
no
15-yard
excuse for
penalty.
missing that
No. It wasn't that play. They talked about it on the NFL Network. And it was like 3 a.m, and I'm flipping through, and they were when they were showing a rerun. They were talking about it. The line is making the call to shift to the left. That was the line's call, and Justin Fields should know that they're going left as he's calling it out, because he has to call out too. Wherever he's saying the mic is, both times, and I said this the other day, they went left. He got killed on the first one because he didn't take the hot throw. The second one, he barely looked to his right because they were going left, and he just like chucked the ball and it was complete. That's Justin Fields' fault. And both of the guys on there were saying, look, you're rookies, it's going to happen. They got to understand the hot read, but if the line's going that way, they have to know.
Different teams, different reasons. Like, these different teams, different needs. Like, yeah, both of them need a quarterback. Both of them took a quarterback in the first round, but Chicago is a more complete team than Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a new coach. They're in the middle of a rebuild, and the guy you have to fill Trevor Lawrence's place, y'all did him bad last season. I personally would like Minshew over Andy Dalton, but if you're going to throw a quarterback in there to get hurt, why not throw Andy Dalton in there?
Man, is Andy Dalton your NFL's PJ Tucker?
Yes.
Is he your P? Okay. All right. Now I understand. Now I understand it's PJ Tucker. I'm not wanting anybody to get hurt. All I'm going to say lastly is, look, I'm with Alex. I think Trevor Lawrence, because we were talking about this before the draft, like he will start. He should start. Worst team or not, he should start. I understand that, John. Hold on. But I'm just saying that when people are comparing him and Justin Fields, the Bears defense, yes, we all know is more complete. I mean, they literally legitimately have a chance to be a top.
I think they have better
3 to 5
weapons.
defense. But losing
It's a leadership issue. Like Jacksonville is in the middle of a rebuild. You got your leader. You drafted him. You put him in there.
Right, and I agree with you, Megan, but I'm saying losing Etienne, to me, it's not about a running back controversy. I just think that Urban Meyer played his cards too much on that early and was honest, because he was going to line him up in the slot. You get more weapons on the field, and Etienne out of the slot. I mean, we talked about this before the draft, guys. Like, that's big for Trevor Lawrence. That's huge. So now you take that away.
True.
Yes. Thank you.
Lined up at the running back position. His position was wide receiver running back. He was going to be lined up in the slot in a different formation place.
Yeah.
Anybody thinking he was going to take away snaps from James Robinson obviously doesn't cover the team. 2, doesn't know what the hell they're talking about.
Well,
ironically, I cover the team, and I know
he's going to run the. He was still going to run the ball at some.
He was still going to line up. Yeah, he's still going to line up in the backfield at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I agree with you. I think it would have been more in the slot, Alex, but he wasn't going to turn him into a full-time slot receiver. I still think he was going to be a running back. But I'm with you. You take an extra security blanket and weapon away, and that's what makes it frustrating for Trevor Lawrence. But John, I disagree with you. I don't think he's gun shy. I think he's trying to make reads, and it's like, again. I know Peyton Manning told the story of his Hall of Fame induction. But
yeah,
he told his dad after. He told his dad after his first year, and that's a famous story. Even before that, like, nobody's open, and Archie's like, no, they are too open. You just have different windows in the NFL than you do in college, as we all know. That being said, I don't think he's gun shy. He's trying to make throws, but again, he's different than David Carr, and I love David Carr, and the Texans did ruin him, but they also didn't have a Minshew on their roster back then. I'm with Megan on that, because Minshew, again, to me, very solid. And this kid blew up under Mike Leach, who is crazy, but is, again, another quarterback whisperer that gets his quarterbacks to throw in the window.
Look at Ray Cyrus. His achy heart isn't leaving Jacksonville. He's going to be the backup behind Trevor Lawrence. We have love for Billy Ray. Okay.
I think Minshew gets traded. I think that's why they're not starting him. I think
they need a backup just in case something happens. They don't have a solid backup. They need that. But look at what the Texans have done to Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's an amazing talent, so he's overcome that. But before they went out and got Laramie Tunsil, that line was garbage. It still is garbage.
And what happened his rookie year? He tore his knee up.
They really haven't done that much to help fix that offensive line in his career. So that must be a Houston Texans thing. But you got to go out and you got to fix the offensive line for these guys, because thankfully Deshaun Watson was able to overcome it so far in his career because he's an amazing talent. But you got to give these guys an offensive line. I mean, look at Tom Brady. He's had a perfect offensive line basically his entire career. Clean pocket basically his entire career.
Yeah, because his line's been hold the whole time. Anyway, you need to start Trevor Lawrence.
2 offensive linemen on the Monday night game. They just picked up another offensive lineman. I'm giving you inside information. Go Google it. He has plenty offensive linemen to help and assist him. Can they get better? Yes. I'm not arguing that. But unlike Justin Fields, he's the number one pick. These two have been battling since high school. Carterville, Georgia.
But you could have argued that Justin Fields should have been the number 2 or number 3 pick right there with Lawrence.
Well, you and I both know how that goes. You know,
right, but
we
I'm
don't
just
have time
saying
for
it's not
those
like
semantics.
it's not like the 10 pick differential is that much of a differential because he could have went 2 or 3.
We know how, bro.
Well,
we know the politics behind
okay,
that.
I understand
That's a completely
that,
different subject.
But
what
Alex,
I will say is that Chicago isn't rebuilding. Nagy is in win now. He's fighting for his life. Urban Meyer, not on the hot seat. No expectations. First year as an NFL coach. He can do whatever he wants, get away with it.
Well,
different expectations.
I agree.
Absolutely. But look, you're going to talk about draft picks, John, and I'll wrap this up real quick. Look, by all accounts, then, if you're going to go off of performance, I don't care if it's one season or not, because his arm isn't weak. He can get the ball downfield. Mac Jones should have been the number 1 pick. National champs, can throw to good receivers, can throw to everybody, makes his reads. Nick Saban talking about him. So Mac Jones technically should have been the number 1 pick. Laugh all you want. What did he do last year? So he had these guys, but yet did he not get the ball down the field? Was he underthrowing guys grossly? No, the secondary suck, like Eric always hears me say in the SEC. Most of them suck except for Bama's, Auburn's, and Georgia's. And Florida's is always is 50-50 because their safeties are usually really good in Florida. That being said, Mac Jones, by that percentage of winning, if you put people around him and getting the ball downfield, should have been the number 1 pick. And nobody watched Zach Wilson, so I don't want to hear it because Zach Wilson can make every single throw. Every single one of those other quarterbacks can make too.
Okay.
I like Zach Wilson.
I like Zach Wilson too. And not just because he's on Mama Carrots
Jets.
I
Hey,
just
Mike,
say
you know who beat Georgia though?
For what?
The long.
Oh, Texas, yeah.
Rose Bowl.
Okay.
I'm all for that.
I can't remember the last time Texas was relevant.
Can't remember last time the Dolphins were relevant.
We're talking college. You want to ask me about the Gators when the last time they're relevant?
Okay.
Yeah, they're not
Thank
relevant
you.
in the SEC. They're not.
They were really good last year.
They're not relevant.
Real question. Was Zach Wilson the kid that was
Last time they were relevant was Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez days.
Back-to-back titles.
Nobody wants to answer that question. Okay.
What'd you say?
What'd you say? What was the question?
Was Zach Wilson the kid in the Stacy's mom video?
No.
What? Oh my God! Yeah, no.
Sure.
All I wanted to say to elaborate more to John's question was if the schedule would have played out to where Jacksonville would have played Buffalo week 1, would we be so quick to put Trevor Lawrence out there?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Hey.
I let the mustache do his thing.
Okay. Time out. So Alex, you're saying yes, but you're saying no to Justin going up against the Rams, and that's where I have a problem. I do, because if you're going to say, well, Trevor shouldn't play against Buffalo's defense, and let's just talk defenses for a moment, okay? Where do you rank Buffalo's defense versus the Rams' defense? I'm assuming you give the Rams a slighter edge.
The Rams obviously have a better defense, obviously.
Okay.
But Buffalo, I will put them in the top 5, probably number 4, if not 5.
Okay. So then, and Mike, Megan, John, give me a moment, please. So then, Alex, I have to ask this question then. How do you sit there and justify not putting Trevor Lawrence in against Buffalo's defense? Excuse me. The schedule. It's the schedule, okay? If Buffalo was playing Jacksonville week 1, you would not put Trevor Lawrence in. Would you or would you not?
I would.
Okay. So why. You would. Okay. Go ahead.
I would. And this is why.
Sure.
You don't bench the number 1 pick. If you're selected number 1, that means you're the most NFL ready. You're the best NFL talent. There's a reason why you're selected number 1. Can you name me the last number 1 pick that sat? Can you? Trust me, you're going to have to go back. This team needs a leader. Jacksonville has had a dichotomy of horrible quarterbacks and low season tickets. What do you get out of Trevor Lawrence?
Baker
Good quarterback.
Mayfield. Thank you.
Season tickets. Number 1 pick versus number 11 pick. NFC, AFC. You have different monsters. And it's a hypothetical because you're not playing Buffalo to start the season. You're playing the Houston Texans.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying to you, sir. If the schedule played that way, you and I then would be on the same page, because the same way you're saying, even if Jacksonville did start against Buffalo, I would play Trevor Lawrence, is why I am simply saying, since the Bears are playing the Rams week 1, you play Justin Fields. And you're right. There is a 10-person differential between number 1 versus number 11. But Alex, this is Justin Fields. People are already talking about this young man. And I feel as though you want to make a statement. You want to make yourself known, especially in a league where you're really going to play, let's be honest, you're going to play maybe 7 years as a quarterback in the NFL, especially if you don't hold up to the expectations. You're going to play out your rookie contract, okay? As long as you stay healthy, you're going to play out your rookie contract. But as you graduate and as you mature, their levels are going to be there for you. And you're either going to be good and you are going to elevate to greatness, or you're just going to be somebody that everybody talked about. You're going to be in that bigger bunch, if you will. Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears and Matt Nagy have a tremendous opportunity to go out and really rewrite the narrative. And yes, it's against Aaron Donald. And yes, it's against Jalen Ramsey. But you have to do something, because I see Chicago just embodying the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Shake up the narrative. See what Justin Fields is about. Go out there and say to yourself, okay, this is our dude. And if it doesn't work, at least you know. But continually sitting him on the bench to sit behind Andy Dalton is just, for me, it's just not, it doesn't make sense to me. I feel as though you're coddling him, okay? Zach Wilson doesn't have a choice. Let me be very clear about that. Zach Wilson does not have a choice. You're starting, okay? Because the Jets don't have anybody else. I can't tell you who their backup quarterback is now or whenever. Trevor Lawrence has Gardner Minshew. Trey Lance has Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay? Justin Fields has Andy Dalton. Now, let's take those 3 guys, their backups. Please, sir. Jimmy G, then Gardner Minshew, then Andy Dalton. And yes, I'm saying that. And I'm sure Cincinnati ain't going to love me as much as Cleveland don't like you. Neither one of us can go to Ohio right now. Okay? But I am just like, you have the means and the opportunity. And John, who I'm bringing back in, hit the nail on the head. The Bears have more weapons, have, in my opinion, and I'll agree with John, they have better weapons. Justin Fields, the more he gets comfortable under center, the more he's going to be able to get it done. And I want to know what this young man's about. They started this when they drafted their first black quarterback in a century. Put him out there and let that little brother go to work. That's
I have a problem starting Justin Fields after he gets his tackle back. Telvin Jenkins had back surgery. He won't be available till week 3, week 4. I want to see if Jason Peters can still move, because he's 39 and came from the Eagles. I'm not going to let Justin Fields be a punching bag for the top-ranked or second-ranked defense in the NFL. I'm going to let Andy Dalton be Bozo the Clown and take those licks. I'd rather start my future franchise quarterback against the lowly Cincinnati Bengals than start him against the Wolves of the Los Angeles Rams, who's already thinking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I truly think Matt Nagy thinks that Andy Dalton gives him the best chance to win. I have no idea how, but he had CeeDee Lamb, he had Amari Cooper, he had Zeke, and he could do absolutely nothing with it. Absolutely nothing. And he couldn't do anything. So I don't understand how Matt Nagy thinks that this gives him the best chance to win. I have no idea. But go on, Mike, please.
Oh, I'm just going to say, to all your points, you guys are talking about, we're talking about Justin Fields. Well, I mean, your coach, Mr. Flores, set the playbook on that. Just pull Tua out when he can't handle it. So if he feels that Justin's getting killed, just pull Justin out, put Andy Dalton in with his clown shoes and everything on.
All right.
And you notice how John was saying that Tua won his first start?
He did.
Look at his stats against the
You said, statistically, the 0-13. You're wrong about that. Doesn't matter how it happened. No. You were wrong. Take the L.
Wait, Alex, did you say number
is not
0-13?
You were
Alex,
wrong.
Did you say number 1 picks in their starting?
No, he said rookie quarterback.
Rookie quarterback. Oh.
And the last rookie quarterback to not start week 1 was Baker Mayfield.
Okay. The last 13 number 1 quarterbacks are 0-13, I believe. It was an ESPN stat. And if you really want to count that victory that Tua had against the Rams with those pedestrian numbers, what happened his next start? He looked.
Oh, I know. Fitzpatrick came in. Fitzmagic, baby.
Okay, gentlemen, we are going to take an aside.
Mr. Shear from last time, the defense had a touchdown, special teams had a touchdown, Myles Gaskin ran in a touchdown, and Tua threw a 5-yard touchdown pass.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to take a small break because we have WNBA news that I have to get Megan Price in here for. So, John, Alex, excuse us for a moment. Megan Price, let's get you in here, please. Goodness gracious.
All right. We can talk about a little bit of WNBA. So there was only one game tonight. It was the Mercury.
One game, Megan, and who won? Who won?
Phoenix kicked Liberty in their backs down some stairs. 106 to 79. We had 3 people on the Mercury that had 20-plus points. Skylar had 27, BG had 26, and DT had 21. So just like big nights for all the big scorers over there. Even Turner had 10 points and 14 rebounds. I don't know what was going on with New York. Obviously not scoring. Lainey had 20 points. She's been really on fire. She had a great performance last week too. But nobody else. Sabrina only had 10 points. Allen only had 12. Didi out of Baylor, she had 14 points. So and she's a rookie, so that's a good performance for her. You know, the cute girl with the little puffs. But Mercury, 106-79.
That's because they're going to win the WNBA title this year. Everybody's talking about Seattle. Everybody else are going to win the WNBA title because I love Sue Bird, but Diana Taurasi is the GOAT. I don't need to hear how Sue Bird's the GOAT. I don't need to hear – she is great. She's not Diana Taurasi. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just so glad that was the only game tonight.
All right. We are going to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Sports Arena. John Shear, Fox Sports 1340 AM, and the Cardiac Cane Sideline Sports Network. Mike Harris-Nudo, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast. Make sure you check him out. He's covering high school. He's covering college. He's talking to Marvin Lewis. Tell Marvin I still don't like him, but hey, if he wants to,
that will never leave my mouth.
The AFC version of Jeff Fisher.
How about next time I talk to Herm Edwards, I tell him you don't like him either.
Whoa.
Oh, I love Herm. Who doesn't love Herm?
I'm not talking. Alex knows why I said that.
Who doesn't love Herm?
Hey, John, I'm talking to Eric on that one. I get what you're saying. No, because
don't do that.
Alex knows why I would say that to Herm. I'd be like, yeah, my guy Eric, he booed you and Donovan McNabb.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
For you mean the Philadelphia Eagle Herm?
Yeah.
The guy who made the miracle play Herm?
Don't do that, man.
I wouldn't do that to you.
I was trying to be cool with you.
I wouldn't I would ever do that to you. I talk to him in press conferences.
Hey, tell Herm we need to have him on the show.
Yeah, Herm's cool as anything.
Tell Herm we need to have him on the show. But again, Mike Harris-Nudo, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, representing is ASU, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I
want to say it right.
Says it 400 times a show. Says it 400 times a show. How do you not know?
Well, because sometimes I say Arizona State and don't finish it, and I want to make sure I say that properly. So Sun Devils. I'll just say Sun Devils from now on. Megan Price, 806 in the Sip Off, and she is currently in season 2 of the Sip Off, which again, Megan, you're on what, Thursday nights?
Yeah, tomorrow night, 8 Eastern. Well, like 8:15. I'm always a little late.
That's fine. That's why it's called the Sip Off.
Fashionably.
Hey, Megan, you allowed to be on CP time. It's all love. Don't worry about it. And of course,
Chris Paul time.
Yeah, okay.
The writer.
Just don't wear any rings. Just don't wear any rings.
It's Candace Parker time.
Yay.
It is, of course, the writer extraordinaire that is Alex Fleming, Florida Sun, NSPN. He's got a laundry list of shows that, as I said to him earlier today, y'all better be careful because when Alex puts pen to paper, boy, ooh, he's got some articles that he has given me the privilege of seeing. And let me just tell you, get ready for this year. Between Jacksonville, Tampa, writing for any other team, that definitely you want Alex Fleming on your payroll because when he writes, it's thought-provoking.
Eric, isn't he going to write for the NFC South champs, the Falcons, too? Isn't he taking the Falcons job?
Okay.
What the hell did you just say?
Mike, Chris, I had to get him.
He's gone.
Alex, I had to get him. Don't worry, I got you. I had to get him for that one. We're going to let that one go. Anyhow, your man Eric Wilson for the Sports Arena. We will talk to y'all on Monday. Everyone have a good weekend. Much love and appreciate everybody. See ya.